There's a kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with sleep. Marlon Brando knew that tiredness well in his later years. By then, he had lived on his small island in the Pacific for long stretches at a time, far from the studios, far from the noise of Hollywood. He had spent decades being called the greatest actor of his generation. Reviews, awards, imitators, arguments about his every choice. For most of his career, there had always been someone to convince. A director, a critic, an audience, himself. One evening, sitting on the porch of his house as the sun went down over the water, a younger actor who was visiting asked him something about technique, about how he prepared for a role, about what made a performance great. It was the kind of question Brando had answered 1,000 times in 1,000 interviews. But this time, he just sat quietly for a moment. And then he said simply that he didn't think about it anymore. Not because he didn't care, but because somewhere along the way, he had stopped needing anyone to be convinced. The younger actor didn't quite understand. How could someone so talented, so respected, simply stop caring what people thought? But that was exactly it. Brando had spent so many years proving something, that he was serious, that he was brilliant, that he deserved the attention he received, and later, that he deserved to be left alone. Decades of proving. Decades of pushing against expectations, against labels, against the idea of what he should be. And on this particular evening, watching the water turn gold and then gray, he realized something simple. He was tired of proving things. Not tired of life, just tired of the performance that had nothing to do with acting, the performance of being someone for other people's benefit. That was the realization, that at some point the need to prove yourself, to be impressive, to be understood, to be right, can quietly become its own kind of prison. And that letting go of it doesn't mean giving up. It means, finally, being able to rest. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe for years you felt like you had to prove something to your parents, to your boss, to your siblings, to yourself. That you were capable, that you'd made the right choices, that you were enough. And maybe, even now, some part of you is still doing that. Still explaining yourself. Still working a little too hard to be seen a certain way. Still carrying opinions, other people's opinions, like they're your own. Here's something gentle to consider. Most of the people whose approval you've spent years chasing aren't keeping score the way you think they are. And the ones who are, their opinion was never really the point. Maybe it's time to put some of that down. Not in anger, not as a rebellion, just gently. Like setting down a bag you've been carrying so long you forgot it was heavy. Maybe it's time to make a choice about how you spend a day, what you wear, what you say, simply because it's what you want. Not because it will impress anyone, not because it will prove anything, just because it's true to you. It's never too late to stop performing for an audience that may not even be watching anymore. It's never too late to simply be. Marlon Brando spent the first half of his life being watched by everyone, and the second half learning how to stop needing that. If you're watching this tonight, maybe there's something you've been carrying, an old expectation, an old role, a version of yourself you've been performing for far too long. Maybe tonight is a good night to set it down, just for a little while, and see how light that feels. So take a slow breath, and maybe, just for today, let that be enough, without needing to prove it to anyone.